I wish I knew how it would feel to be free. I wish I could break all the chains holding me. I wish I could say all the things that I should say. Say 'em loud, say 'em clear, for the whole world round to hear. Jazz music was born to heal the brokenhearted, but what has it become? Today, we'll talk to two incredible jazz artists about the healing power of music and a generation desperate for a freedom song.
And that's what love is. Love's got your back.
It's a reaching, it's a yearning, it's an aching.
I think silence prohibits expectations.
Are we being heard? Are we being seen?
I think people feel safe when they can define you.
We created this show because the world is changing. Our first guest is as versatile as she is daring. Winner of the 2019 Harlem Stage Emerging Artist Award, she's a drummer, composer, and producer. Modern Drummer magazine once said, she is all over jazz. And that's no exaggeration, having performed with everyone from Kenny Barron to Christian McBride in clubs across the globe. She is the modern face of drumming. Hailing from Oakland, California, please welcome my lifelong friend and supreme talent, Miss Savannah Harris. Thank you for being here. At 14, I saved up money from my first job to see our next guest perform. I was transported instantly to another world. She's a musical prodigy turned phenom. Called the jazz genius of the 21st century, she's a 5-time Grammy Award-winning bass player, composer, singer, and songwriter. Her most recent feats include writing and performing an opera alongside the great Wayne Shorter and a professorship at Harvard University. Please welcome my personal musical hero, Miss Esperanza Spalding. Thank you so much for being here. So today we're going to talk about healing. Healing in music, healing in our generation, healing in society. And I want to start with you, Esperanza, because I know your latest album is called Apothecary. And Apothecary deals with medicine and healing. So where was healing at in that process of making the album?
Well, the reason that I chose to use the word apothecary is because it encompasses this time in medical history where people who would have, I think in our times, be called like witch doctors or soothsayers, were starting to try to quantify and measure and track what the effects were of these different elements coming together. And actually, apothecaries were part of the journey of chemistry becoming what it is today, of tracking what would happen when certain elements were put together.
Right.
It speaks to a time of experimentation, but there's a longing to offer salutary effect to the person who's coming to the apothecary, right? So I feel like that word describes so perfectly this intersection that I feel myself in, you know? It's more like a confluence, I would say, of different streams of practitionership coming from music therapy or neuroscience or, you know, developmental therapy, definitely music as healer, and musician and performer and songwriter and all of these, you know, all of these interrelated lineages that have their own very distinct histories. So to me, apothecary really encompasses that practice. Like, we're looking for ways that we can put elements together in the music to offer a very particular effect for the listener.
What about you, Savannah? I know you're a composer in and of your own right, so is that sort of how the process looks for you, that sort of confluence that Esperanza's talking about?
Definitely. I think for me, like, from the background of being a drummer, like my emphasis is on orchestration and how all of these elements kind of conflate and take each other's place and how to move these kind of things around a soloist or a vocalist or whatever's happening on stage. But in a composition realm, I am at the center of that. So I am actually in the process now of figuring out how to orchestrate around myself. And that's a different, it's a different feeling, and it's a lot rawer and more vulnerable of a process.
Well, that's what I was going to ask, because the position that you're talking about is one of a giver, of someone who's bringing something to give to the audience or to create an effect for that audience. But where do you get your healing from? Like, where does it come from before you put it in the music? I guess we're diving right in. So.
Well, it doesn't. That's interesting that you framed it like that. It doesn't feel like that to me.
It's not one-sided.
Yeah. And the idea of like giving a thing called music feels so abstract to me because everyone present is implicated in the vibrations and frequencies that are happening. I mean, whether you want to be or not, you know.
You hear it. Yeah.
Unlike visual mediums, you can't remove yourself from the experiencing of the sound, you know. Because even if you don't have the capacity for hearing, your body's being affected by the vibration.
Sure.
You know, so we're in this
Together.
milieu of energies flowing around. And I don't know that there is a way for, let's say, a practitioner who works with music to not be involved in the effect of the sound that they're making.
Of course,
you know?
of
And
course.
maybe a musician isn't writing something for like an explicit effect,
Right.
but likely we are writing it to produce some sort of effect that we need first as human beings. Like, I think that's why many of us are drawn to the music, because we recognize that it's doing something for us, you know?
Yeah. Well, I want to direct, towards you, Savannah. Like, when did you realize music was healing you, or maybe an intersection in your life? For me, it's been every single intersection of my life. There was a song, there was an album, there was Stevie Wonder, there was Nina Simone, there was India Arie, there was Esperanza Spalding. There was so many intersections where I was like, I need this so badly. Where did you go? Where's that?
I can think of one really particular moment.
Please.
So my parents met at the Coltrane Church in San Francisco. Oh, wow. That's where they met. And so I grew up Muslim and also at the Coltrane Church, which is a very interesting spiritual
And what kind of
medley
place is that
life.
for viewers that don't know?
The Church of St. John William Coltrane in San Francisco was a church that was developed in the late 60s. And it's definitely not worshiping John Coltrane or anything like that, but it does use his music in a liturgical sense as like in place of like gospel, for example, or in place of, it's like, substituting hymns over the melodies of John Coltrane, and you're playing those grooves, and you're getting into that space, and that's the space from which your worship is
Your parents
happening.
met there.
My parents met there
So
in the 90s.
You were planned, through that.
That's how I came
Yes,
up. And
yes.
so as a kid, I was playing drums in that church. And so there was a moment where we were playing and I just started, the waterworks just started sobbing behind the drums, and it was just that first feeling of like, this is powerful. Like, this is not a game. Like, there's something that we are creating together that's not tangible. You cannot see it, but it's happening, and it's bringing something out of us, and it's resonating with our spirit, And that continues to be, for me, the most powerful aspect of what we do. It's just like, as soon as we hit the stage, we don't have to talk about what we're gonna do. As soon as we start playing, if we're tapped in, it will unfold itself, and that's like for me, something really
I
beautiful.
feel that so much. One thing that I love that you all say about healing is this idea that there has to be an enjoyment in it. And I think when I think of like our generation and kind of like the wellness industry, how they think of healing, it's very serious. It's like this kind of like dealing with your demons, going through, therapy, like it's a very serious process. But the way that you all are describing it, and either of you can comment on this, like there seems to be this sort of lightheartedness that you're bringing it, that there has to be a sense of joy or this kind of lighter release.
I think joy is very different to me than happiness. And so I can experience like great tumult and also joy in neighboring moments or at the same time. And so as far as healing is concerned, you gotta dredge up some uncomfortable things in your life or in your environment, in your relationship to others, in order to really examine that. But at the same time, like, I think you can hold space for the joy of like the hope of getting to be in a new space or getting to get past this. Or if you can't even see that far, just the joy of being able to enjoy the experience of making music with another person. Right. There's also moments of having these great accomplishments that bring such joy and bring such exhilaration and feel like, oh, I'm healing, I'm getting somewhere. And then I also have to reckon with the parts of myself that are like, hold on, like there's still more to look at here, or there's still more to deal with here, or delve into. And so I think of it as a both and rather than an either or, you know?
Right.
Yeah. It's so much. There's just so much to touch on when you open up the portal of, exploring what is healing. What goes into healing. What's coming up is I recently got to take this beautiful class on conflict exploration. And the teacher
Not resolution,
exactly,
but exploration, yeah.
Exactly. And the teacher was just that, reorienting us to say, like, there is a kind of longing for control and closure that a lot of people bring to conflict, and that has a pressure on the process of resolution itself, because you're hoping for an outcome already.
I feel like time is the only thing. My grandma said time heals all. I
That
feel like
part.
that's even built into jazz music in a way, that it's like something is happening over the course of music, specifically in that kind of, I won't even call it a genre, but in the jazz tradition, that it's like, we're not the same at the end of the song as we ever are at the beginning. I definitely feel that when I think about literally John Coltrane's Resolution, from A Love Supreme, it's like something is being resolved here. And it doesn't feel when you're done like, oh, it's ended. Like it's resolved,
And
It's like-
sometimes resolution is a shift in our relationship to whatever we're addressing.
yes.
It might not have to be about changing the focus of the object of our focus or the circumstance of our focus. It can be about coming to peace,
Yeah.
or coming to acceptance, or coming to like re-narrativize,
Yeah.
And just to kind of touch into jazz lineage, since you brought it up, I think it's important to remember that this particular lineage of music grew from a people who had no way out.
Yes.
So just to try to like zoom back and think about these men and women, and let's just be real, predominantly Black men and women who truly hadn't ever had an experiential possibility of an alternative to this inescapable system of oppression.
Right.
In times where truly there seemed to be no way out, what emerges?
Right.
This medium, this phenomenon that later gets called jazz. So in a way, I feel the music became the avatar for the existence that couldn't be realized yet.
Yeah,
And we've heard it say again and again, it's almost like speculative fiction, you know what I mean? That then becomes reality. Because we've heard our heroes, our prophets of this music speak about what the music can open up in the
it can do.
imagination.
And
what
I
it can
want to
open up
bring
in
you into that,
reality.
Savannah, because I know, drumming especially, like, how, are you having a moment?
Girl, you already know I'm having a moment.
Friend, come in with a moment. I love that. I love what's
It's
going
so
through your
real.
mind as
Like,
you
it's
hear
just-
that.
Yeah.
What's going through your mind as you hear that?
I just, there's levels, right? And you get to a certain place where you're like, I can't take this for granted. Like, this is some special stuff that we working with. And it's not to say, to take anything away from any other medium, but this has such a specific history as you're talking about. And I love rap. I relate this to rap. I just can't help but relate it to rap. And I can't help but relate it to, different art forms that have emerged in the last 30 years that are a little bit more recent than jazz. Jazz was that then. And through the alchemy, there is this opening of the physical world, the spiritual world.
To be able to move.
To be able to move.
You can move. And you can move on.
And move on.
Yes, and I have to add something to that, because I think sometimes that becomes the temptation inside of suffering, that we need to get out to somewhere else. And actually,
speak on it.
Yeah, when I think about alchemy, I actually think about, again, thinking about this music coming from people who had no way out.
Yeah.
That I actually think about, even with healing, like you can't get out of yourself.
Right.
You can't
You can
escape
try.
yourself. I'm thinking about musicians I know who are in the same town that they grew up in.
Right.
And are cultivating this alchemy without the expectation of going somewhere else. That the alchemy itself is transmuting the circumstance. It's transmuting the environment. It's transmuting the reality.
Oh my God, I'm having a moment. The first episode I filmed, Nikki Giovanni, when I asked her about, like, revolutionary moments, and she starts talking about slavery, she says there's something powerful about those who escaped. She's like, but there's something powerful about those who stayed.
Yeah.
It was radical. in the 1800s or maybe the 70s to run away from slavery. But it was also radical to stay.
She's like, there's something powerful about someone who planted crops in the ground and was there to see them grow. And we don't think about that because we're thinking about freedom, about escape, about moving on. She's like, but so many people, the history of the South, the history of slaves, it was people that remained.
And you know,
that's what you're
just to
kinda
remember
saying.
that the get out and go make it better over there once I can is part of the roots of colonialism.
Right.
And I know we want to detangle ourselves from these ideologies. So, and it's not to diminish the gift and the blessing of us. I mean,
absolutely.
I feel like I definitely got out of some stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
But it's also to say
Right.
there's another dimension of the potential of this art form that we practice.
Yeah.
Which I think is to support us in remaining.
Where you are.
In remaining
It'll hold you
and
where you are.
alchemizing from there.
Yeah.
You know, which I feel, it's hard. I'm saying this feeling like, whoa, it's challenging for me to even embrace that and accept it because it is a time us millennials or Gen Zs feel like we can go anywhere and do anything. It's like, yes, that's true. And what do we miss of the alchemy's potential when that's the only pathway that we're using it toward? You know?
I want to bring in, I would be so remiss if I didn't ask this question because I know so many people are going to think about it. You two, as women in this thing that we're calling jazz, I mean, so much of that, the lineage and the tradition and the face of jazz and really the sounds beyond just like vocal artists, it has been very male dominated. Do you ever think like I am a woman or there's this feminine thing involved in the kind of music that I'm making or how I'm participating in this tradition?
I don't think about like femininity being some sort of like fundamental element of my musicianship.
Yeah.
Like in the work that I make. But I do notice the ways that growing up inside of like a shifting patriarchal structure, I'll put it like that. And when I say that, let me just be clear, it has nothing to do with resenting men. It's just any power structure that's catered to and places the preferences, the power
On a specific
on a
group.
specific person is problematic. I don't care who that person is.
Right, right.
And I can say as a woman, I definitely noticed growing up in this music a difference between how I was being treated.
Yeah.
And I kind of decided early on, like, oh, I'm gonna show you.
Oh, and you have.
And that's not,
And you have.
I just wanna say,
You have, let me just
I
say
just
that.
wanna say though, that's not a dependable engine.
Yeah.
And I want to speak to what Terry Lynn Carrington's doing with the Jazz and Gender Justice Institute, because the reason that she created that is because she recognized, oh my God, if we're depending on young girls having this kind of like, fight to be able to push back against, the oppressive forces of patriarchy,
So
we're
few are
gonna miss a lot of women who have a lot to contribute to this music. So her whole mission was like, actually, we need to make a place, a pathway, so that young women who feel attracted to this music can travel uninhibited.
Uninhibited.
At least by the social things.
Right.
All the challenges are still gonna be there because it's challenging,
Right.
as a form, but at least don't let it be social challenges. At least let it be because it's just difficult.
Right,
You know what I
technical
mean?
challenges.
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
financial- Yeah. And honestly, something that I even want to play with that is so crucial is that resentment or that kind of bitterness or just that kind of fight, it'll get you only so far. And then the rest of the way, like I feel like that is where the necessity of healing comes in, especially because you have this girl boss generation, especially you have let's break the glass ceilings, like that'll take you, I think that took me maybe through my freshman year of college. It's like, okay, I want to
Take you right up to the line.
It'll take you right up to the
Not any
line, but
further.
it doesn't grow you up in that way. And I meet a lot of artists that I can tell, actors, directors, whatever, they're still have something to prove.
And what is that contortion doing to your spirit?
Exactly.
What is
Right.
the contortion
Right.
doing to the craft that you have
This
to
is the
offer?
art,
You
yeah.
know, it's really
Right.
tricky to detangle that. It's really tricky.
And it's hard, yeah, because with the ambition of it, it's like that'll be the driving force and the thing that gets you up in the morning. It's like you got this chip on your shoulder, but it weighs you down. It weighs you down. And I wonder, think about what you have to say about it, Savannah, like, where do you put it down? Where do you put that chip on your shoulder down as an artist or as a
I
person?
feel like I have the inverse chip because my family dynamic was different, and I really grew up in a jazz scene that was heavily populated with middle-aged men. So I grew up really measuring myself against those standards and maybe not questioning it all that much. I mean, I think it was later that I started to be like, hold on, I mean, I knew from the beginning, like, this is a system that I'm acclimating myself towards. But it took a while for me to say, well, like, who is the self that's acclimating towards this system? And to figure out when you're socialized in this way, what does it then mean for you to be an adult woman?
Yeah.
Behind the drums.
Right.
And not necessarily always in certain spaces queer presenting. So there's all of these elements that like I'm cognizant of on a daily basis about how as a woman I relate to my instrument and my role as a practitioner of the music and as a drummer and what that means very specifically, you know? And so I guess the chip on my shoulder has been more recent and me kind of trying to fight for myself in the sense of like, well, what does it just mean for me to authentically show up to the gig and play the hell out of the gig and feel good about it and feel good in myself and not feel like I had to contort in all these ways.
Or had to be the female drummer.
Or had to be the female drummer.
Right,
and
right,
I get a
right.
lot of feedback, particularly from older women at the end of shows where they're just like, they're like, what? Like, this feels so great to be able to watch you as a woman doing this. I didn't
great.
even think it was possible.
Right.
And at first I was a little uncomfortable with this feedback, but as, you know, I am attempting to mature, I've understood that like, that's real. Like, that is real for them.
Real,
to be
real.
like, I saw Sheila E. and that was it. I never saw anyone else do this, even though there have been many. And so I accept it, and I accept the mantle, and I accept the responsibility, if it is that, of just bringing myself to the form and allowing that to be enough, you know?
Right. So I want to end the show by asking you each what you're working on, and you can interpret that however you want. Esperanza, what are you working on now?
One of the things I'm working on is a dance company. I just
Come on.
Yeah,
You can't just that.
Wow.
You heard it here
it's
first.
so deep. It's so deep.
Go.
So
Legend.
Wow.
we're in this. We've been doing it for.
Do you have a name for it?
Yeah, I don't want to say it yet.
Okay, don't
but
say it.
No,
Don't
it's
say
okay.
it. Don't
It's
say
okay. But when it was in its lab form, we called it Refacing Gods because I actually it was a lab that I curated this spring at Harvard, and I call it Refacing Gods because, quote unquote, jazz is one of the only diasporic music forms, folk music forms, where dance has been separated from the music. I don't know that there's another one where they've been separated.
Yeah.
And for years, I've been longing to re-experience, and I say re-experience because I think we all experience it in some way, like just the cipher that happens with your friends. Like,
Right.
It's already a part of what we are and who we are. That
we
when there's rhythm, you
communicate.
move, and when you
Yeah.
move, there's the music, and it is what it
No,
is.
that's what I said, yeah.
And there's been this bifurcation in this thing called jazz. So I call it Refacing Gods because I really do feel that the original kind of like portals of spirituality were music and dance.
Yeah.
So it's inviting those gods to really like reface each
Without
other
a
and
question.
engage and have
Wow.
that dance, you know. And through location-based research and collaboration, we're just finding ways from our center of cultural authenticity to bring these back together and have it feel like a place that everybody can get involved, you know.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
What are you working on?
I'm stunned.
We're just taking a moment. We're
stunned.
taking the moment we have.
I'm working on some recordings right now that are my attempt at joining myself and making them integrated so I can just go forth as myself, because I grew up obviously in a jazz family, jazz-based family, but like I'm a hardcore kid. Like I like punk, I like hardcore, I like techno, I like house music, I like all these different things. I love flamenco. I'm like hardcore. And so there's all these elements of myself that I definitely tie in to the shared diasporic language of the drums because it's all there. It's all present
always-
there.
drums are
It's
the one
all
thing that's
accessible
always
there.
there.
You could just grab it
Yes,
and
yes.
stick in it and So that exists already, but in terms of compositionally and just in terms of crafting and producing, I've been hard at work on that and figuring out how that can feed my own evolution just as a person,
My heart is full, and I thank you both so sincerely for being here, for participating in this healing practice and this conversation, because I know this is a generation that needs the people that they look up to, the artists, the women, the healers. They need to know I have permission to be okay. And I think that's what I've gotten from this conversation, is to say it's okay to be still, it's okay to move on, it's okay to sing, it's okay to dance, even if you're not a singer, you're not a dancer, or you don't feel that way. And I think you all, the giants that you are, even in my eyes, to give me that permission, to give them that permission, it means the whole world. So thank you so much for holding this space.
Thank you.
Thank you so
It's been a
much.
blessing
Absolutely.
to share this space. Yeah.
I'm Bianca Vivion, and this has been Generational Anxiety.